I feel I carried 2015 on my back. I feel like the reason there's a $4.2 billion price tag on the company is because of me. Conor McGregor declared during the UFC 202 press conference. The Notorious has made plenty of similar claims throughout his career, constantly reminding the world why he's the highest-paid fighter in UFC history. Simply put, no one brought business to the UFC quite like he did. Ever since Dana White discovered McGregor, he seemed to know the Irishman was destined to take the UFC to new heights. And the Irishman delivered, becoming exactly what the UFC boss had envisioned. In fact, White once told ESPN that McGregor accelerated and changed the game globally. That's why he earned a spot on Dana's personal UFC Mount Rushmore, right alongside Ronda Rousey and Jon Jones. To White, there's no doubt McGregor is one of the sport's biggest superstars. But that's not the end. Conor McGregor might not have been inside the octagon lately, but he always finds a way to stay in the GOAT conversation. And this time, it was during the UFC 318 weigh-in show. While playing a game about UFC's Unbreakable records, Daniel Cormier, Chris Weidman, and broadcaster RJ Clifford revealed a jaw-dropping stat. McGregor had 8 straight UFC pay-per-view events that each pulled in over $1 million buys. They are UFC 194, Aldo vs. McGregor, 1.2 M buys. UFC 196, McGregor vs. Diaz I, 1.317 M buys. UFC 202, Diaz vs. McGregor 2, 1.65 M buys. UFC 205, Alvarez vs. McGregor, 1.3 M buys. UFC 229, McGregor vs. Khabib, 2.4 M buys. UFC 246, McGregor vs. Cerrone, 1.35 M buys. UFC 257, Poirier vs. McGregor 2, 1.5 M buys. UFC 264, Poirier vs. McGregor 3, 1.8 M buys. That's a feat only Conor McGregor's star power could achieve. We're looking at a whopping total of more than $12.52 million in PPV buys, and even more impressive, over $90 million in overall gate revenue. It's no surprise that Dana White has a real fondness for the Notorious One. No other fighter has even come close to reaching that level of success, aside from one heavyweight superstar who managed to achieve at least half of what McGregor did. Alright, let's jump in and see who that is. Brock Lesnar takes the second place after Conor McGregor with 4 consecutive million buy pay-per-views. What does it take to match a superstar's power? Well, another superstar, of course. Back in the UFC's golden era, Brock Lesnar was that guy, the most recognizable heavyweight the promotion had ever seen. The Beast might not have reached the same global fame as the Notorious One, but he was undoubtedly one of the most bankable names in UFC history. Lesnar managed to pull off 4 over $1 million PPVs during his run. Lesnar's showdown with Randy Couture at UFC 91 got the ball rolling with more than 1,010,000 PPV buys, as he snagged the heavyweight title with a second-round TKO. Next up was UFC 100, his showdown with interim champ Frank Mir. The Beast scored a savage first-round finish, contributing to the card, pulling in a whopping 1,600,000 buys. After that, Lesnar brought the belt together by facing Shane Carwin at UFC 116, racking up another 1,160,000 buys. At UFC 121, Lesnar finally lost his title to Cain Velasquez in what's still considered one of the most memorable heavyweight bouts, racking up 1,050,000 PPV buys. That puts Lesnar right behind Conor McGregor as the only fighter to headline 4 PPV events that topped 1 million buys. That said, do you think any current UFC star has what it takes to reach that level of fame? Drop us a line in the comments below. In the brutal, high-octane world of mixed martial arts, legends are often forged in blood, sweat, and knockouts. But very few athletes have managed to become more than just fighters. Icons who transcend the octagon. Conor McGregor, the Irish powerhouse, has done exactly that. With a staggering $90 million plus in revenue and a jaw-dropping 12.52 million pay-per-view buys under his belt, a record few can even dream of touching, McGregor still reigns supreme as UFC President Dana White's undisputed golden goose. McGregor's meteoric rise from Dublin plumber apprentice to the biggest draw in MMA history wasn't just about fists. It was about flair, timing, and an unshakable belief in destiny. Every punch thrown and every microphone snatched was part of a larger-than-life narrative that captivated millions. And while the UFC has produced a number of bankable stars, none have come close to replicating the sheer financial storm McGregor brings. In a world where big names come and go, McGregor's staying power is part mystery, part marketing genius. His 2017 clash with Floyd Mayweather, labeled the money fight, alone pulled in over 4.3 million PPV buys and generated hundreds of millions. That single bout, which wasn't even a UFC fight, solidified McGregor not just as a fighter, but a global entertainment juggernaut. It was spectacle meets sport. A Dana White dream come true. What's even more astounding is that despite multiple losses, long absences, and controversies outside the cage, McGregor's star power hasn't dimmed. If anything, it's evolved. Fans don't just tune in to see him fight. They watch to witness a phenomenon. Every return tease, every cryptic tweet, every press conference dripping with bravado. McGregor sells not just a bout, but a moment in pop culture history. Dana White, ever the sharp businessman, has long known the value McGregor brings. While the UFC continues to churn out new talents, no one commands the crossover appeal, headlines, or commercial success like The Notorious. Whether it's selling out arenas, launching Proper No, 12 Whiskey, or signing million-dollar brand deals, McGregor generates revenue like a one-man army. Now, with the numbers finally laid bare, 12.52 million total buys across his career and revenue crossing the $90 million threshold. An unbreakable legacy is carved into UFC history. For any future fighter hoping to surpass him, it's a nearly impossible mountain to climb. As McGregor eyes another comeback, possibly his last, the world watches. Not because they think he's unbeatable, but because his name still echoes louder than any title. As long as Conor McGregor is breathing fire and swinging leather, Dana White knows the cash register will keep ringing.